The Nighthawks are a division of Beyonders under the Church of the Evernight goddess. They usually act undercover as police or security companies, and they address supernatural issues related to believers of the Evernight goddess. Meaning, if a believer of the Evernight goddess were to undergo some kind of supernatural incident, the Nighthawks are the ones who investigate it. For example, take the supernatural incident that our protagonist, Klein Moretti, and his friends Naya and Welch were involved with. They came into contact with an ancient notebook and all attempted to commit suicide. Every major city tends to have its own Nighthawks who oversee the entire city. However, smaller towns tend to have a single cathedral who oversee many smaller towns. The Nighthawks have three different classes of employees that we're introduced to early in the story. First are civilian members, second are full-fledged Nighthawks, and third is our captain. Civilian staff are Nighthawks who are not Beyonders and are not involved in battles or investigations in any way, so their knowledge of Beyonder powers and sequences and that entire world are kept to a minimum. However, they are in close proximity with Beyonders often, so they tend to learn a decent bit about powers and sequences and pathways and that sort of stuff. Civilians of the Tinjin Nighthawks include Roseanne, who is the receptionist we meet in episode 2, Mrs. Oriana, who is the treasurer of the Tinjin Nighthawks and is responsible for paying Nighthawk salaries and holding cash for reimbursements and that sort of stuff. And lastly, Old Neil, who is sort of an exception because Old Neil was originally a full-fledged Beyonder. However, due to his old age and being unable to participate in Beyonder battles and investigations, he was transitioned into being a civilian member, and is an exception because he is a Beyonder. Sequence 9 of the Mystery Prior Pathway. Now, full-fledged Nighthawks. These members of the Nighthawks are Beyonders who are also given positions in the police, allowing them to investigate crimes and crime scenes with impunity. When Klein, for example, becomes a Sequence 9 Beyonder and a Nighthawk, he becomes an inspector in the Tinjin Police Department. Nighthawks, over their time working and investigating based on their actions and contributions, earn merit points, which can be exchanged for the next formula or potion of their sequence, allowing them to advance and grow their powers. There are currently 8 members of the Tinjin Nighthawks. First and foremost is of course the newly added but our favorite, Klein Moretti, who is a Sequence 9 of the Seer Pathway. Then is Royale Reedon and Kenley White, who are Sequence 9 of the Sleepless Pathway, a different pathway but also Sequence 9s. Then is Leonard Mitchell and Sika Tron, who are Sequence 8 Midnight Poets of the same Sleepless Pathway. Fry, who for some godforsaken reason is just never given a last name, is a Sequence 8 Gravedigger. And last but not least, Daly Simone, who is a Sequence 7 Spirit Medium. And lastly, the captain of the Tinjin Nighthawks, Captain Dunn Smith, who is a Sequence 7 Nightmare. So if you're keeping track at home, we now know Sequence 9, 8, and 7 of the Sleepless Pathway. Sequence 9, Sleepless, Sequence 8, Midnight Poet, and Sequence 7, Nightmare. If you're interested in the powers and abilities that Captain Dunn and those of his pathway possess, please check out my other video that explains the Sleepless Pathway and all of its abilities. As always, a special thank you to all of my members. None of this would be possible without you guys. And if you enjoyed the video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all later. Thank you so much, guys.